In this video, we're going to be talking about why so many people continue to move to St. George despite the housing prices that seem to be out of control over the last couple of years. There's a lot of really good things that are going on in St. George, and we're going to talk about that right here in this video. What's up, you guys? My name is Cody Steck, your favorite Utah realtor. If you're thinking about making a move to St. George or anywhere in the state of Utah, please reach out to me. As always, call, text, or email anytime. I absolutely love hearing from you guys and cannot wait to hear from you. If you're looking at relocating here or you already live in the area and you want to work with me and my team, we would love to help you do so. All right, so let's jump into this. We're going to talk about 5, maybe 6 different reasons of why people are moving here to St. George, despite what's going on in the economy, despite what's happening with home prices and everything else. And then I'm going to give you some insight on the market and what's actually happening out there, what's happening to home prices, why prices are actually climbing over the last couple months, and where I think they're going to go over the next 3, 6, and 12 months. We're going to talk about a lot of things here in this video. As we do that, make sure to subscribe to this channel. There's about 50 to 60% of people who watch these videos who are not yet subscribed to the channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to do that so you can get notified of future information and future videos when we release them. And it would also help me give me the support to continue releasing these videos. So with that said, let's jump in and talk about number 1 on our list. So number 1 is going to be obvious. I think anybody who's been to St. George or been to this area or lived here for any amount of time is going to be the access to the outdoors. It is incredibly easy to get outdoors if you live in St. George. No matter where you live, even if you're right in the middle of town, you can be on a trailhead or on a hike or climbing or canyoneering or something like that within about 15 to 20 minutes in any direction, right? That's the amazing thing about St. George is you can literally get from one side of town all the way to the other in about 30 minutes. So at any given time, you're never more than 20 or 30 minutes from a trail or from a golf course or from a mountain biking trail, road biking, whatever it might be that you want to do. Even if you want to go boating, you want to go fishing, you want to go get on the water, you've got a couple of options. Of course, the number 1 being Sand Hollow. That's not too far from there. It's really only about 30 minutes to get from the city over to Sand Hollow and on the water. So being so close to the outdoors is obviously number 1 here on our list. That's why people continue to move here. If you're tired of being cooped up inside, if you like doing those outdoor activities, then that's obviously going to be something that's very powerful for you and is going to be a big driving factor. Next up, number 2 on our list is going to be the opportunity that we have here in St. George. St. George used to be kind of just this small town. There wasn't a lot going on. It mostly used to be kind of a retirement area and also a lot of tourism. However, that's starting to change. There's a lot of tech jobs coming to the area. There's a lot of professional jobs coming to the area, and that's bringing in a lot of high-paid employees and business owners who want to work in these different fields. There's a lot of opportunity here, and it's no longer just an area where people go to retire or to vacation. There's a lot of people who live here long-term, and there's a lot of money flowing into the area, and I think that's going to continue to happen. The St. George area is growing like crazy, and right now we're sitting at about 200,000 people for the entire county of Washington. I would not be surprised if we hit 300,000, 400,000 over the next 20 to 30 years, kind of like the state is predicting. In fact, I wouldn't even be surprised if we blew those numbers out of the water and hit 500,000 within the next 30 years or so. Now, there are a lot of concerns with that. Of course, people are going to say, well, where are you going to get water? Where are you going to get housing? It's too expensive. Everybody's got a concern about that, but the fact is people are going to continue to move here. They're going to continue building multi-housing units, and they're going to continue to expand in the area. So I don't think that's necessarily a concern. I mean, I should say it is a concern, but I don't think it's something that's going to slow down the growth that's happening here, because number 2 on our list is the opportunity that there is here in St. George. Next up, number 3 on our list, let's talk a little bit about retirement here in the area. Like I mentioned, although there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of new jobs coming to the area, St. George is still a very heavy retirement community and second home community. There's golf, there's hiking, there's climbing, there's pickleball, there's biking, there's literally everything you want to do outdoors here in the area, and you've got amazing weather year round. In the summers, yes, it's going to get very hot, so that's kind of the slow season just because it can be so hot during that time, but definitely during the spring, the fall, and the winter, it is very nice weather. Winters are very mild. You don't get any snow, and it's going to be fairly mild temperatures, right? You can get outside with a long sleeve shirt or maybe just a light jacket, and that's honestly really one of the best times to get outside and enjoy what St. George has to offer. So going to continue to be a retirement community here in St. George. There's lots of 55 plus neighborhoods. There's lots of communities designed around retirement, and that's going to continue to be a big factor for the area going into the future. If I had to guess, I'd say there's probably 30, 40, 50,000 retirees in the area at any given time, and that's a huge part of the overall community. And that kind of leads us right into number 4 on our list here, which is that you have a great sense of community here in the area. There's lots of good people, there's lots of families, there's young professionals, there's retirees. You have a little bit of a mix of everything here in the St. George area. And one thing that people always comment on is how nice people are in St. George, how welcoming they are, how friendly they are. And it seems like everybody's kind of just outside having a good time, especially when the weather's nice. People love to get outdoors and do things with other people. And that's something that really sticks out for St. George compared to a lot of the other areas, is that just you have this great sense of community. It's clean, there's low crime, great schools. You have all these great things that, you know, come together and really provide a really great space for somebody who wants to live in this area. Next up, number 5 on our list is that you get cleaner air here in the area. There's a lot of people who move from the Salt Lake City area down to St. George because you get this cleaner air. You just have a much better environment all the way around. And this is one thing that I wanted to add on to our list here because there's a lot of people moving here who are tired of the bad air quality that you get in the bigger cities. If you're looking for kind of that smaller town where you can get that cleaner air, St. George is definitely going to be one of those areas. Now, number 6 on our list is going to be the smaller town aspect, right? It's a smaller town, but it's very, very new. In fact, most of St. George was really kind of developed within the last 50 years. And honestly, most of it, even more, I'd say probably 50% was developed in the last 10 to 15 years. So it has grown like crazy over the recent times. There's a lot of new growth. There's a lot of new commercial buildings, restaurants, different things to do, entertainment options. There's a ton of growth happening in the area. So if you want to be a part of that, you really like going to the new spot in town, you really like going to try out these different entertainment venues or just getting out and doing something different, St. George can be a really great option for you. You're going to get lots of housing options where you can get these newer homes with the newer floor plans that are more desirable. And that's something that's going to continue to draw people here to the area. So that kind of gives us 5 or 6 different reasons why people continue to move here. Now let's talk a little bit about prices real quick and what's happening with prices and the value in the market. Because if you're watching this video, you're probably considering making a move here, or you already live here and you're maybe looking at buying or selling real estate. People are adjusting to this new normal that we have now, and prices are kind of leveling off. Interest rates are kind of leveling off. They've been mostly flat, although they could increase or decrease in the next couple of months based on a couple factors we'll talk about here shortly. But we're starting to see people adjust to this new normal and just say, well, you know, if I want to buy a house, I'm going to pay 6% or 6.5% on an interest rate, and here's the prices. And they're willing to pay that just because that's what it is. People get adjusted to that. It's no longer sticker shock, and they're willing to make the jump into the market despite what that new normal is. In addition to that, inventory is extremely low. There's a lot of people who've been sitting on the sidelines thinking about selling their home, but they really don't want to because there's nothing to purchase out there, which is driving inventory numbers to be even lower. Plus, they're going to have to give up their 2, 3, 4% interest rate and jump into something at 6%. And a lot of people are just not willing to do that in today's day and age. So inventory continues to remain low. And I think that's actually going to stay that way unless one major thing happens here in the market, and that is unemployment. One thing that nobody is talking about here in the market for the real estate world is unemployment. Unemployment is going to be the driver of what happens in the real estate market. There's a lot of people who are continuing to make their payments every single month. Maybe it's a stretch for them, but they've still got a job. They still are able to make those payments. That is going to continue to keep home prices from dropping significantly and from preventing inventory numbers to jump up significantly. As long as people continue to have their jobs and they continue to make their payments, I think that the market is actually going to stay relatively flat, at least here in Utah. Every market's different, so you have to give it hyper focused and hyper local. But for the most part, St. George is going to be very insulated from that as long as people continue to have jobs. Utah was actually one of the lowest ranked states for unemployment. So we're not seeing a lot of unemployment, and that's going to continue to keep home prices and inventories at these levels where, you know, it just makes it hard to, prices are not coming down, inventory numbers are not going up. And I think that's going to continue to happen. Now, next up, I do want to talk about interest rates. We have said that interest rates could climb. They're expecting another interest rate hike if inflation continues to remain resistant to the interest rate hikes that we've seen. We could see them climb even further. That's going to have downward pressure on the real estate market. In fact, I don't think that's going to have a huge effect on prices. I think prices will probably come down slightly. I think it's more so going to have an effect on sales. The number of sales that are happening is going to drop as you see less buyers in the market just because things are more expensive. That's just the harsh reality of what's going on in this market. If the number of sales goes down, then home prices will follow. If interest rates keep climbing, those home prices will come down. It's not always always a relative amount, but we'll start to see that happen over the next little bit. So over the next 3 to 6 months, if you do start to see interest rates climbing, if you hear news reports of this, you might want to wait another month or two before jumping into the market, because you could see home prices come down another $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 during that time, and that could be very beneficial for you. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is that demand is there due to the housing shortage that we have in the market. There are hundreds of people, maybe even thousands of people sitting on the sidelines waiting to jump into the market. They've got jobs, they've got opportunities, they've got a little bit of money saved up, and they're waiting to jump into the market, but the interest rates and prices are just not quite there for, what they're looking for. However, if we do see interest rates, which are the biggest driver of what happens in the real estate market, if we do see those interest rates start to drop, you're going to see hundreds or even thousands of people start to jump into the market, and that's going to cause prices to skyrocket, right? Prices have come down a little bit. If interest rates come down, you have all these people that jump in, and therefore prices take off and they're going to climb. So there's a lot of pros and cons as far as whether you should buy or sell real estate. It's really hard to say, right? It really depends on your own individual situation. Maybe it makes sense to wait. Maybe it makes sense to purchase now, but just be aware that if interest rates do climb, we could see prices come down slightly. I think maybe, half of whatever the interest rate climbs is. So if we see interest rates go up 0.5%, we might see prices come down about 2 or 3%, and that's probably it. However, if interest rates come down 0.5% or even a full percent, maybe even 1.5%, prices are going to skyrocket. We've already seen that in the seasonality adjusted months here in March, April, May, and June. We've seen prices climb because of the spring selling season. And if interest rates start to drop, those prices will climb even further. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. If you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything about future videos here on St. George. And as always, if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate here in Utah, please reach out to me. My team and I service the entire state, and we absolutely love it when you guys reach out. We'd love to help you along your journey. We want to be your trusted real estate resource of choice. So please reach out, call, text, or email anytime. My information is here on the screen and in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.